So, we start biometric system because so the biometric system, I think we started with some ideas, but we will go back to those ideas so that it gets clear at this end. And it is basically an idea for or a system for recognizing the individual beings. See, if I go or think about the security of a system, now it comes several things in your mind. The security, one is that I want to make the infrastructure secure, right? And same thing, I want my country should be secure. At this stage, we are thinking about only the security of the individual beings, human beings. I am not thinking about that whether my dog will be secure or not, right? So, it is a human beings. For them, I want to think how to make it secure system. Now, while you are thinking about the security of human beings, automatically, indirectly, you will find that security of infrastructure or some related items also will be coming in. For example, that I want that only eligible persons will be allowed to enter into the nuclear plant. Now, if you do not consider this factor that only the human beings are allowed, so it may so happen that not only the human beings' life will be in danger, then infrastructure also will be in danger. So, all those things are hidden in between. Now, for identification or verifications, there are what we will be using, there will be several words, similar type of words you will find. One is identification, another word we will be using recognition, another one is verification, another word is authentication, and so on. Depending upon the environment, these terms will be used. In our case, recognition means that it is a total thing, either identification or verification. But in the case of verification, it is that I have a claim and I want to prove myself, that means one-to-one thinking is verification, and identification is that I do not know his claimed material and you will be searching from a database. So, that is identification, which is known as one-to-many. We will come to that definition later on. And there is a recognition word that which includes both identification and recognition. Similar terminology you will be using the authentication, which is equivalent to recognition. Now, in the case of, for example, Aadhaar card, the terminology is different. There is a term we will be covering, enrollment. Enrollment means that you will be coming here to enroll your data, but in the case of Aadhaar card, the enrollment is not this, is that if you are not available in the Aadhaar database, then you will be allowed to enter into the database. So, that identification is being done before enrollment. Identification is done before enrollment, but in our case what we will be doing that if you are not there, we will be enrolling you first, later on we do the identification or verification, right. So, the terminology will be depending upon the environment we will be using. So, keep only these two terms, one term is verification, another one is identification in your mind, and rest terminology we will see later on. Now, there are three traditional ways you can authenticate, right. Generally, we authenticate ourselves. One is known as the level 1, is the simplest one, possessions, whatever you are keeping with you, you have. For example, that this pen is in my pocket and so it is mine. Okay. or your passport, right? Then there are keys. The car key is with you, so the car is yours. But if the key goes to somebody else, then the car will be with him, provided you don't have any other information to prove that car is mine. I don't think anybody keeps the chassis number with him or the car details with him. It is always you keep in the car itself. The next level 2 is the knowledge, whatever you can keep in your memory, right? Simple thing is your roll number, right? But roll number is what? 5, 6 digit, 6 digit number, or ATM pin, which is 4 digit number, and my payroll number, which is a 4 digit number. Okay, and these numbers, the roll number, my PF number, you know, I can guess because it is serially given. So, if I know your 2008 batch, if I know your name, I can estimate what is your roll number, right? Or if anybody knows my year of joining, and current number of faculty strength, you can find out what should be my PF number, estimated one. And so you can make use his or your friend's roll number to use something. Suppose I give you a system where only I need the roll number, then I will allow you to do something. So you can guess somebody's roll number and you get the money or whatever you want to do, right? And PIN is another number, 4 digit number, and it is generally I can guess or anyone can guess, because nobody keeps a PIN which is a random number, because every card will be asking some PIN, and if everybody tries to give a random number, suppose you want to give the random number to each PIN, against each card, then what will happen? You have to have another notebook to maintain that for this card this is the PIN, for this card this is the PIN, and which is more difficult, right? Then if you lose your notebook, you are in problem. So this, and moreover, you have to keep all those things ready with you, because today suppose I want to withdraw money, I go to the bank or ATM counter where I have to press my PIN, and if you do not remember that, then you are in problem. The level 3 is something you do or something you have with you, right? You do not have to carry with you, automatically it is being carried. For example, your behavior, your physiological characteristics. Say for example, that the way you walk, right? The walking style is fixed for everybody. From behind you, suppose you are walking ahead and I can see that you are going, I can understand he is the man, that everybody can detect. Or by even, you know, there are people, by listening the sound of the footstep, he can tell who is coming, right? So this is the, you know, inherent in our system. Even sometimes, you know, some of us, by the, we can know that who is coming even by listening the vehicle's sound, whether he is the person coming or not, right? So all those things are inherent in your brain. So something you do and something you are. And in the case of physiological characteristics, you, for example, you have your face, right? If you do not mask on your, put a mask on your face, then anyone can determine here you is the person. Or that your vein patterns, this is fixed, right? Inside your skin, the veins are there and their patterns are fixed. You cannot change it even if you want, right? So, those characteristics can be considered to identify somebody's or identifications. Say, but being a teacher, suppose here I am here and I know whether you are present or I do not know all of your name, very few names I know, but I can find out whether you are present or not, because I know where you sit, or you will find that your sitting location is fixed. It is plus minus one row or one column, not more than that. So, by this I identify yourself. So, there is something that does not come under these categories, but there are additional informations by which one can identify, one can reduce the search zone, whether you are absent or present, that can be determined. Because you know why you are thinking that only 20 students, there is a class of 500 students, but a teacher can determine whether he is present or not. He may not know his name, only by virtue of that principle of locality, he reduces the search area and he checks whether he is there or not. Now, the definition of biometrics, it is the automated use of physiological or behavioral characteristics of human beings to determine its identity, right. So, the word we are using, physiological and behavioral characteristics, is important. Now, the question is come very day before yesterday, that forensic science department was telling that, sir, DNA is not a physiological characteristics, but we assume, so they told it is a biological characteristics, and you should have added their physiological / biological characteristics. We assume that DNA also belonging to physiological characteristics. Now, by these two terms, physiological characteristics and behavioral characteristics, we are defining our biometric systems. So, there are two measurements, one is physiological, under which you will find fingerprints, handprints, vein prints, retina, iris, face, and so on. Whereas behavioral characteristics, voice, keynotes, keystrokes, signature, and so on. Now, you observe these fingerprints, handprints, retina, iris, face, and so on, they are very difficult to change or ear. Whereas one can mock the, copy the voice, right, or one can try to copy the signature, the way you sign, right. There are several people, means quite a good number of people, they work in the field of signature forgery, right, that you have given a signature and there is a competition that who can forge your signature. The way you sign, there is no problem, but there are people working in this field. Similarly, there exists quite a good number of people like Raju Srivastava who can copy somebody else's voice, right. And also, if you see that if I am suffering from cold and cough, the voice gets changed. So, it has been observed that the behavioral characteristic based biometric system has very large error rates compared to physiological based biometric systems. Now, our aim is to get a system which will give you the 100% accuracy. That is the aim, right. Now, one can think that 100% accuracy means the situation is that where the forgery will be minimum, or where I will not make any mistakes to give my biometrics data, so that automatically it gets matched. Say for example, that if I give the vein patterns, right, one good thing is that nobody can change his vein patterns, because then he has to cut his hand and he has to put additional veins, all those things will be coming in between, which is very difficult. It is near impossible. And by what vein pattern means, I am thinking about the hand vein patterns. And but if you see the vein patterns, the pattern looks like this. Maybe like this. Now, from this pattern, one way could be that I take this pattern and you have another pattern, just you superimpose on it and check whether it is matched or not, right. See, one thing is that every hand is having similar type of pattern, and to identify somebody, suppose I want to identify you, I have to know certain characteristics by which only I will be identifying, right. One can think, okay, I will see the height of the person, weight of the person, or whether he is fat or slim and so on. But there exist several people of the same height or same weight or similar weight, right, and it will not give you the true pictures. So, there exist certain unique characteristics by which only you will be telling that yes, he is this man. Now, suppose my vein pattern is like that, and the another person vein pattern also will be similar to this. There exist certain characteristics which is different. What are those characteristics? Maybe this point, junction points is characteristic is different. Your junction point is having only one cut or one bifurcation. Maybe you have the trifurcation and so on. Now, issue is here coming that are they unique? That is very difficult to tell. Another one is that you could have thought that, oh, no, the thickness of the vein would have been considered, that your vein thickness is maybe thinner than mine one, but that is also cannot be considered as the parameters, because depending upon the age or depending upon your physical exercise or physical activity, this may get changed, right. But if I assume that no, they are, or if I can prove that they are unique, then this is the best biometric system I can tell. Nothing to be shown, you just go and give your pattern and match it, right. And this is basically, problem becomes that given the two forests, you want to tell these two forests are same or not, right. If I can think this is a graph, not graph, this is basically forest, tree, some collection of trees, and these two trees are there, you have to tell whether these two trees are same or not. The problem is that nobody will interfere on your vein and other things, so you can easily do it. But this is not the case, because it needs many things. You need a good scanner to get the images, right. How to get that images? You have to pass through IR light, so that, or some other light source through which you will be getting the things, and you will observe that in between your hairs will be coming. So, these hairs also will create noise. So, you have to eliminate those here also. But easier one is your fingerprint. It's very simple, you just go and give your fingerprints, we detect the ridges and valleys, and from there you can determine, yes.
If there is a slight burn on your hand.
I will come. So you can give your fingerprint gives you the ridges and edges, ridges and valleys, and these ridges and valleys can be considered as the biometrics characteristics. Now, he has raised one valid question, sir. What happens that if there is a cut on my fingers, right? So, obviously, say what happens in the case of fingerprints, you will find like this lines will be there. Now, there are certain there may be a small gap between the two edges that can be considered as that due to some noise the system could not, but there is a chance that there is a cut or due to some reasons that this sensor could not detect this one. There is a cut, you can see there is a cut, straight cut is there. But before some time or there was no cut, there is a possibility. Now we will assume that this is occluded. This region is occluded. Right? And other part of your finger is available and you can determine the characteristics from that part. Now it may so happen that whole finger he has burned intentionally or not intentionally. Then it is unfortunate manual intervention is required by which you will be determined whether identity is correct or not. Right? So this, if you think from that angle, that in India you will find is a very big number, more than 1% people are not having one finger, right? Especially those who are hard laborer, hard worker, their fingers sometimes are missing, and about 15% of the people, cultivators, their finger ridges are not available. The 15% of the cultivators, they don't have the ridges, nothing is there, plain. Right? So those issues will be coming in between while we will be considering the fingerprint biometrics, but assume that the fingerprints are there, then that can be considered as a valid biometrics characteristics. Then is coming palm. This is another one. This portion can be considered as valid pattern. You know that their lines are fixed. You have the principal lines and hard line, all those lines are there, they are fixed. Everybody has some line. Besides that, there are small lines are there. Right? These patterns also can be thought as biometrics characteristics. IDs, I don't know how many of you have seen the IDs data. You will find the eyeball looks like that. This is a white area and this is a dark area and this is the darkest area, very small part. Right? And this dark area, this area, if you see carefully, there are beautiful designs are there. But the smaller part, smaller dots, that is nothing is there. That is a very dark area. At night, that smaller area becomes very, if it is a dark area, that smaller part becomes very large. right. You can see this example is the dog or cat. If you see cat, you can see very easily that this smaller part becomes very large and this area becomes smaller. And these designs are found unique. Now, how to get that iris images? That will be coming in between, right? Because just if I take your photograph just like that, then this photo, I will see this black area, but I cannot distinguish between this small black and this black, and moreover this design will not be visible. So, one way is that you have to use the IR light, infrared light source to get this one, and obviously that I will prefer my camera should be at a distance of 10 inch, 9 inch, 8 inch, 1 feet or something like that, because so that I can directly get that area and so that I can get my features. Now, there is a constraint that once you are using the IR light, there is a IR frequency will be coming out, right, and which may spoil your eye. So, people may ask you that how safe is your camera. So, generally very few companies they produce this IR based camera or iris camera, so that they are safe moderately. But these features are very, very unique in nature and not small. In the case of vein pattern, the area, the pattern is very small, but here the pattern is very large. Now, another one is the retina. Retina comes here. Some designs you will find, right, say red color. They are also very powerful because they are also unique in nature. But getting data will be a challenge, right. So, nobody keeps the data of retina or data of iris with him. Face is the very, very easy way to get the data. The data is available, and generally we identify person by seeing the face, right. This is general, but it is the most difficult way to if I use the system through which I want to define or identify a person based on the face biometrics, you will find it is the most difficult one. Because even though we can visualize your face is fixed, but determining some unique characteristics from the face is the problem. Now, few things you can, I think, one is that every face has two eyes, one nose, one mouth, these are fixed. Further thing is the distance between the two eyeballs along with the center of the lips, that triangle is also almost fixed, right. So, all those anthropometry system is, our system is such that the ratio is maintained properly. So, nothing extra information you will be getting from the face, but by seeing you I can tell you are this person. What is that? That is the thing only you have to identify. There exists, say, we covered already principal component analysis. Now, in the principal component analysis, what we get? Suppose I take your photographs and I get the eigenvectors. So, highest eigenvectors will give you the most common features you have, right. Second eigenvector will give you the features which is having the least common, and the smallest one will give you the very rarely available on your face that you are retaining, and so on. Sum of all these eigenfeatures, if I combine, then I should get your face, right. So, can I use those eigenfeatures to identify you. Similarly, another way could be that you have the face. Now, this face, from there can I have a model? Can I have a model by which I can define your face? By model I mean that you have, I assume that, so these points are there, like that all some points will be here and there, right. If I can define these points are fixed for individually. Now, someone face is oval shape, someone is having the rectangle shape, these features will help you, these points will help you. Through this face you can have, say I can have the triangles, these triangles can be considered as measure, or I can have the rectangle, some geometric property I can define, or I can define a graph. Can I use this graph for your face matching and so on. So, there are three uses of biometrics where these two are the most commonly used. Third one we do use for the negative identifications. First one is the identification which is known as one-to-many search. Here I have a face or I have some fingerprints or something like that, and I do not have any other information. I have to identify who is that person. Now, once you want to have this idea that I want to identify a person from some biometrics characteristics without knowing his identity or claimed identity, so you need a database of those feature points. Suppose I have the face, one face, and you want to identify, then I need a database of face, right. Now, once you have the database of face, with the understanding the database must be closed enough. What it means, that face photograph, whatever you are giving to identify, his face should be in my list, in my database, right. See, what happens in our country, sometimes you will find that I got a face, can you find out who is the person? But the database is not complete, it is not closed, he may be somebody else. So, it is very difficult to justify or to identify some person if the database is not closed. Here we assume the database is closed. Now, once you get the database closed, given a biometrics characteristics, you can find out who is the person. That is our problem. Now, directly it may not be possible for us to tell that he is the person, because of other reasons which we will be discussing later on. But what we can tell, we can reduce my search space. Suppose I have 10 million people, and from there you have to search, I might be able to give you the 100 persons information that they are probable candidate who can be matched with him. After that, there may be other circumstantial evidences which one can take into account to see whether he is the man or not, right. So, this is your identification. This is a very simple problem compared to identification, is known as verification. Here what happens, that I come and I tell that I want to withdraw money from my bank. My bank personnel will ask, what is your passbook number? I give the passbook number. Then he tells that, can you sign on this paper? I sign on this paper. He checks whether my signature is matched or not, and if it is matched, he gives me money. Now, I am sure it is, they do not check my signature properly, because you know the way they see, just like that, and gives you money. But there exist lot many forgers who can copy your signatures and your passbook is openly, is a publicly available your passbook. He can generate a passbook and there is a small sheet where you have to fill the form, you can withdraw the money. Now, that bank also understands this problem. That is why for a small sheet where you sign, that is known as withdrawal slip, there is a limit to it, maybe 5,000, 3,000, 2,000, and also he has told that if you want to use your withdrawal slip, you have to come to my bank. You cannot withdraw this money from other place. So, you have to go to your own bank and submit your withdrawal slip. He will give you the small amount of money. He is ready to take the risk of that much. Now, suppose I increase the limit and I put only this information, the signature and account number. Obviously, it is not possible for you to, because he will file, open a folder, check the signature, and he checks those signatures, yes, it looks alike, give the money, right. So, but this is the one, even though I am telling that this is a simpler problem to this, but it is not simple. There exists several good identification problems, but those algorithms you will find may not work well in case of verification. Similarly, there exist several verification algorithms which are not working well on identification problems. So, even though you feel that verification is a subset of identification, but with reference to the error rates or with reference to the performance, sometimes it is not the case. So, it has also physical importance. To design a verification system itself is also a good challenge. Third category is the wish list, and here it is basically we use it for negative identifications. The wish list comes under the negative thinking. Why negative thinking? That say in some country I will decide that I do not want to allow these people to enter in my country, but at the same time every country wants the visitors should visit my country, because this is with reference to several things. Cultural exchange, tourism is a big industry nowadays, or say health and so many things. And what happens, this list is, we are not allowing some people to, this list is not a very big number. Suppose I tell that I do not want to accept that Maharashtra, I do not want that these people should not enter into my province. You will find that, especially suppose consider UP, how many people will be telling that they should not enter in my, you will find that UP is a zone where everybody is allowed to enter, right. But in Assam is a big problem, right. If I tell everybody should enter into this, then this is a chaos condition as is going on. So, and in Maharashtra also you will find the similar type of problem is coming out, right. Maharashtra condition is different, Assam condition is different. Assam is telling only foreign nationals will not be allowed. So, you have to prove that you are not foreign nationals, right. But in Maharashtra, what is happening? He is telling no, only Maharashtrian will be staying, especially Bihari and UP people will not be allowed, something like that. I do not know exactly, but I know my case. I am from Assam, I can give. So, I was working in Indian Space Research Institute, Ahmedabad, and to join in ISRO, you need security clearance. It is not, anybody cannot join in ISRO. They have IB clearance, Falana clearance, all those things are there. So, I got a job, I was working there. And one summer I visited Assam, and incidentally, actually my father called me that you have to come to prove your nationality. And I thought that okay, because this is an important thing in Assam at that time it was burning. I went there, and then incidentally in a college there is a camp where you have to prove your identity, that you are Indian. And I saw that my friend, he is now DM, he was at that time DM, and he was checking all those things. Then I went and I meet him personally, and he is telling that, Falguni, you have to give me this one of these 4 to prove that you are Indian. And what are those 4? The first thing that you have to show your birth certificate. I don't have birth certificate. Then there is a national registration certificate, NRC. I told I don't have that, because national registration certificate was given to the people who before 1947 who entered in Assam, or from Bangladesh or from neighboring area, or from Punjab to Indian West Punjab, they got a certificate, registration certificate. Another one is a national refugee certificate, that is 1947. During that time there are people came, they got the refugee certificate. That also I did not have. Then is a land record. I told that I am not the owner of any land, I don't have anything. Well, then you are foreigner. See what I have, I told that I have one certificate from that, passport, and another one is, well, I don't know, passport is not valid thing. Passport doesn't prove your citizenship. Then he is telling that, I told that I am working in Assam. Well, then that is, you are working in government of India, not in Assam. So I have been told that you cannot, in your name there cannot be any land transactions. That was the implication. I told, what is the implication? That you cannot have the land in Assam. No problem, I don't need land. But those are coming under this. It should have, wish list is telling you that I don't want this type of people. It's a negative one. And here in US embassy or somewhere, you will find that they have this list of people name wise. In India, that area is having the country wise, that we don't want these people should enter into that. Right? These are the, but this idea is that I don't care whether you are, negative one I am thinking here. In shopping mall, I don't want these 5 gundas should be allowed to enter. This is a fixed one. Now their photographs are there, or these are fixed, right? That attitude, that is the wish list group. But the size of the wish list is very small in nature. If it is a large one, then it is not a negative database, does not have any meaning. So in the case of what is the difference between the verification and identification? In the case of verification, what do we want? That I am giving you my claim identity. I am my payroll number is 2321, and I am so he will look into the database whose record number is 2321 and checks, and then yes, you are the person. That is the thing. In the case of identification, nothing is given except your biometrics characteristics. And from this, using these characteristics, you have to tell who is the person. Now, what are the characteristics? Which part of your body or what behavior or what physical characteristics you can consider as a possible biometrics characteristics? See, can I consider from here to here as a biometrics characteristics? Possibly yes, provided you prove that it satisfies these properties. Right? So first one is universality. Universality means that characteristics that this from here to here exists for everybody, exists in your body. Right? So every person should have the biometrics characteristics, that characteristics. Now if somebody tells us there is no hand, that part leave aside. If he is a complete person, then this hand must be there, will be there. So you can consider. Next one is the uniqueness. No two persons should have the same characteristics whatever you are considering. So, if I just see from here to here, and I consider, okay, this is the only part I want to consider for my biometrics characteristics, it is not unique, because this measurement from here to here, you will find there exist several people having the same measure. Or if I consider the diameter of this or the circumference of this part, you will find there exist several people who will have the similar characteristics. So, that is, you cannot consider unique, right. So, uniqueness is one important parameters through which you will be separate them out. Permanence, that characteristic must be available throughout your lifespan, but it is not clear whether there exists such type of biometrics which you can claim that it is available throughout your lifespan, fixed, but for a short duration it is yes. For example, your face biometrics, face is, if I consider for 5 years, it looks almost same, provided there is a start age is 18 years onwards, right. So, it should be permanent. Then collectibility, there must exist some sensor, something, some media through which I will be able to collect your data, right. Otherwise, it will be difficult, right. I need your data digital form, how to get it? So, there must exist some media through which I will be able to collect it. And acceptability, the society must allow us to collect the data. Society should not feel, no, this is not to be given, right, and you are in problem. So, these are the 5 characteristics, and you will find that does not exist any biometrics character which satisfy fully all of them. Say, for example, the face biometrics. Let us understand what happens. Everybody has face. There is no, without face, there does not exist any human being, right? Universality exists. Uniqueness almost exists. Maybe twin case is the only part where you can think. Otherwise, except that Hindi movie things, don't put those movie things, but otherwise it exists uniqueness. Permanence in the case of face is a difficult one. It is a very, very short duration, during that time they are fixed. See, if you say, I can give you an example very straight away. Amitabh Bachchan's today's photograph, and you see that, well, earlier days, Mukaddar ka Sikandar. You check, you will find a lot of differences there in the face photograph, right? And so, this is difficult problem in the case of face. Face biometrics, face actually uniqueness maintain, or a permanent part maintains for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Beyond that, it is, one should not consider. Collectibility, yes, there exists enough number of ways you can collect the photographs, and society accept the idea, there is no problem. I can take your photograph. Only thing is that I may ask you, can I take your photograph? Worst case scenario, you can tell, not at a distance, you can take from 500 meters. Not beyond that, you will not tell, no, don't take my photograph. That is not a, generally we don't do. If somebody asks, can I take your photograph? You tell, yes, take it, don't bother. Right? So, these are the characters. In the case of fingerprint, let us understand now. Which property does not? Everybody has the finger. Can I draw this conclusion? No. I told you that there are people you will find, even if it is 1% or less than 1%, they do not have the fingers. That finger is not there. But if their finger is there, then the characteristic exists. Uniqueness, small data sets of around 10 to 15,000, we have seen that they are unique. but no one has told or has seen that what happens that if it is go for 12 crore people or 125 crore people, whether these fingerprints are unique or not, that is not known, right. But in the lab environment, whatever study we have made, we have observed that it is almost unique. Permanence, it retains the features, except that as he raised, if there is a cut or there is some accident, of course, those things are not considered here. Collectability, yes, there exists a very good amount of number of scanners through which you can collect the data. Acceptability is an issue here. See, once I tell you that give your fingerprint, there are people in the society, they feel that only illiterate people can give the fingerprints, literate people can give the signature. So, they will tell you that, see, I know how to sign, I will not give my fingerprints, right. So, the social stigma is there, but more or less society accepts that okay, if you want fingerprint, I am ready to give. Now, but one thing you remember, these are all whatever criteria we are telling this for the general request mode. But if I tell you that if you give this data, I will give you 500 rupees, I will not mind to give my data several times. So, because every time I will get 500 rupees. So, I am not considering those cases. Now, in the case, let us consider vein patterns, right, vein pattern, hand vein patterns. What happens that if my hand exists, then pattern vein must be there, otherwise blood flow will not be there. Uniqueness is the questionable thing, because we do not have enough data. We have only 1000 data at IIT Kanpur. We have checked that they are unique. Similarly, very small data exist, and based on that we are telling they are unique. But if you observe that my forest is like that, there may be similar type of forest that may exist, because not too many bifurcation or trifurcation you will find in the vein. Permanence is fixed, yes, these vein patterns are fixed, you cannot change it, right. Even if you are from childhood to up to old age, it will maintain the same pattern. Collectability, it is a little difficult problem, it is a costly problem, because you need the costlier sensor to collect the data. Acceptability, society does not mind to give you, because now still today nobody can withdraw money by giving their veins patterns or transact the land using the vein patterns, right. Now, what about the signature? Suppose I consider the signature, can it be a biometric thread? Yes or no? Why no? No, first one is that universality. So, that itself is a problematic, that there are quite good number of people, they do not know how to sign, right. This is a big problem. And second thing, uniqueness, if I tell you the sign 20 times on a plain paper, you will find that first signature and last signature there is a vast difference. If I tell you the sign today one, tomorrow another one, you will find that there exists similarity, right. But if I tell you that no, sign now itself 50 signatures, you will sign the first signature and last signature, there is a lot of variability. Then there are people, they do not sign regularly, very less number of signatures in a month he signs or she signs, especially housewives, right. So, they want to withdraw money, and that is say, and they do not need the money every day. Today they have withdrawn, and maybe after 15 months they want to withdraw again. Now, these housewives, they have to think which type of signatures they make, right, with a small signature or like that. They are very serious about it because they forgot, right, because they are not occasionally they are signing. Now, there are people, they sign too many papers in a day. Is there other cases also exist, right? And there are some papers are official, some papers are semi-official, some of the papers are for keeping in office file. Especially these army people, they have certain formula. They use the different color of ink, red ink, green ink, they have them different meaning. And what we do, for example, my case, in my bank account I have signed full, but when I use my office letters I sign P. Gupta, and when I write to some, I write PG. But everybody does some other way because short forms, but can you identify based on that? It's a difficult problem, right? So, this uniqueness, not only that same signature, there exists the variability of your signature pattern based on the environment. So, those issues are there. Permanence, at certain age it is permanent, but beyond that some period it is permanent. Reason is, suppose 18 years, 19 years, at that time early age everybody wants to modify his signature, he wants to see how is my signature. But as he becomes stable in life, you will find that his signature also gets stable. By the time he has decided what signature is, because today if I take your signature you write full name or some name, right, but while you will be in the field, but really you are working in some environment, or then you will find that your signature style is completely different because that has become stable with you, right. And so during that period it is more or less permanent. Collectibility is very easy, right. You put a white paper, you sign, and I scan it, I get it. Society more or less accept the signature. Only except these people who are afraid of the land transactions or something, they may feel something, otherwise society accepts this one. So, signature, that is the reason why signatures is not well accepted by the biometric society. So, I mentioned that there is no biometric that satisfy all these properties absolutely, right, and generally it provides the protection in several applications. The physical access control, that is the airport security. Example is, say I do not want to allow somebody to enter into my airport, right. Then logical access control, that you want, and you want to withdraw the money, I do not want to allow you to withdraw the money, or I will allow you to withdraw the money. So, this is not physical thing, this logically I am allowing it, and you want to prove that I am the person, concerned persons. There are several applications, some of them I have enlisted. Time and attendance. I do not know how many of you said that there is a punch card system. There is an environment, in working environment, a person comes and he punches his card where time and date will be entered, then he goes inside the room. And while coming out again he entered, punched the card, then that time will be recorded. Now, here there is no biometric concept, right, just there is a card, you insert and get the time, enter into that. So, the cards are stacked. I can tell you that I am coming late, why don't you enter my card? So, you go there along with your card, you can put my card also and enter into that. So, that is one way. Say for example, I have taken your signature on your paper, but I do not know who has come and how many people are there, I do not know, right. And the number is suppose 17 and I have found here 16, right. The number, this number, paper number may be less than the physical, cannot be less than the physical one. This may be more than the physical one, because there may be some partner who has written twice, two names, right. So, that may be possible. So, that is the punch card problem. Same thing is the signature problem. But if I take your face photographs and enter the data into that, then it is not possible. The time and attendance is that one. But here you can tell, sir, can we introduce in the classroom attendance, that the people are telling that people are not attending my class. So, the council faculty members has been advised that take biometrics data. Now, assume that that is introduced. How can you introduce it? Suppose I use the fingerprint scanner. So, one way is that move the fingerprint scanner from one corner to another corner, and while it goes to you, you will try to play with that, you will try to scratch it or put some penning on it, something you will do, so that next person face problem. He will not be allowed to, he will not be able to give his data, right. So, this is human being. Or from moving one corner to another corner, if I take 5 seconds to move from A to B, now suppose a class size of 200, so how much time it takes? 200 into 5 seconds, that means 1000 seconds, how many minutes? It is a big number, right. So, does not mean anything, that what for I am doing that, this class attendance things. If somebody, I am sure that in my class that there will not be false attendance, right. Somebody else will come and sit in my class, does not mean anything. If he wants to sit, fine, he sits, right. At the same time, there is a possibility that some students will not come to my class, that is possible. That possibility, what we can do, I can introduce some penalty on it if you are absent, or I can tell, okay, I will take quiz, but I do not want to put a fingerprint scanner in my class. Now, the question is coming, suppose after that he failed in the exam and he has appeared and he is telling that I attended all the classes. Now, authority wants to know from us whether he attended the class or not. That is the big problem. And I use only this information for this purpose, whether he attended or not. Based on this, I will lose some of the pages. It is not that I will retain all this, but I will tell on the average he was attending my class or all this. So, this time and attendance is one problem where one can think about, but the 45% mark is there. Then competitive examinations, this is a big problem. Nowadays in railway board exam, for example, or staff selection, where in or the simple, that army or not army, that home guards selection, you will find that huge number of people are attending. And who is joining there, nobody knows whether those persons joined or not, right. So, impersonation is another big issue for this one. Banking sector, that I told several examples, airport also I discussed, physical access I told you, forensic lab. So, remember one thing, the term forensic lab comes, there is a difference between the biometrics. Biometrics is that a priori I am getting it, that I give my fingerprint, then I have been told, yes, you are the person. But in the case of forensic science, it occurs after the event happened. That no forensic scientist will come to a place to see something. They will come after the event happened, then they will start thinking whether it is identifiable or not. So, a crime occurred, forensic time people will reach there after occurrence, not before occurrence. Then they will find out or trace certain informations through which they will try to identify some people, right. So, forensic, but idea is that they can use our biometric systems. This land record is another way, another place where you can use the biometric system. So, if you registered your land, you have to give the 10 fingerprints, right, and that is ink based fingerprints, ink pad, I do not know how many of you seen. And if you know the quality of fingerprint is such bad, nothing, no ridges and valleys are visible. But that is the British period people, this British government had told us that to take 10 fingerprints just like that, we are also giving that one. And Registrar General using them properly or improperly, I do not know. But those issues are there.